Cloudy. My name's Cloudy. Welcome back to the channel. You know what I'm saying? If you didn't check out my last video, make sure you check out my last video. You know what I'm saying? Today, we got a video from Everything Always. Avengers Doomsday Chris Evans scene leak. I wonder what he gonna be doing.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to Everything Always. My name's Michael Roman, aka Allfires. Now, for months leading up to the Fantastic Four, we heard from industry insiders that Chris Evans likely had a small cameo. We speculated here at the channel that he was most likely back as Johnny Storm, you know, because it's a Fantastic Four movie, and after we just saw him as a Johnny Storm variant in Deadpool and Wolverine. However, right before the film dropped, industry insider and Twitter scoopster My Time to Shine Hello indicated that this rumored cameo was cut early on, but would have been a scene featuring a NOMAD variant of Steve Rogers from across the multiverse, of course setting him up for Avengers Doomsday. And although that scene never came to pass...
Ooh, so, bro, now this got me a little confused, bro. Like, I know Dr. Doom is going to be, like, a main character of Avengers Doomsday, but, you know, they could still show the movie through a different point of view. Like, what if they show the movie through Chris Evans' point of view because he a nomad? He gonna be traveling and stuff, but he might have a mission. You know what I'm saying? It might be a mission he might be on, like trying to take down Hydra or something. I don't know, because I did hear he might end up becoming like the Hydra version of himself or whatever the case is, and it might be because of what Dr. Doom does or who he runs into, or he ends up getting captured or something like that. What if they show Chris Evans, Steve Rogers? What if they show his timeline where he ends up actually looking for the Red Skull? Like, he didn't get frozen into the ice or none of that. Like, none of that stuff happened. He ended up surviving. What if they show a timeline like that, and that's the timeline that Dr. Doom goes into to get that Chris Evans? Y'all feel what I'm saying? Yeah, I gotta go back and watch the Captain America movies to know what I'm saying, bro. Because in I think the third movie, he ended up going into ice, or the second movie, it was one of them, and then he ended up coming back. But what if that never really happened? Like, what if certain stuff from the first movie didn't happen? Like, what if Bucky never got found, or what if he did get found? And bro, you know, there's a lot of stuff they could change about that storyline they could use to make Steve Rogers become a nomad. Because I don't think he would become a nomad after we just seen him become old and all that stuff. He went to go chill with Peggy in his old time. I wouldn't think he would become a nomad, bro. So they'll have to kind of go back to his old story, bro, to make it happen.
If this is true, the big bombshell here is that Chris Evans, Steve Rogers will be in Doomsday. That's where we pick up today with the same industry insider, but a totally different scoop, which, if true, completely recontextualizes leaks that we've been getting for months now. And from the trusted source Unboxed PhD that's brought us all the behind the scenes footage, man, this one is a doozy. And if true, completely confirms Chris Evans, Nomad Steve Rogers for Avengers Doomsday. We're breaking it all down, this latest update and what it means for leaks we've had for months. But first, if you could grab the subscribe button. We do daily Marvel content at the channel. That's all we do. Thanks to everyone who's been subbing lately, and if you haven't already, just kindly invite
subscribe to your boy Cloudy Comics, you know what I'm saying? Leave a like too, and also leave suggestions, bro.
You to do so. It's the #1 thing you can do to support us at the channel, plus it'll enter you for the giveaways. If you want, stick around at the end of the video. We get into all the giveaway stuff again there. Okay, so quickly, a spoiler warning. This has everything to do with actual leaks, like the stuff we've been getting from the behind the scenes footage, etc. If you don't want to know that stuff for Avengers Doomsday, no worries, but now would be the time to back out. Okay, so let's set the stage here. Unboxed PhD starts posting a ton of behind the scenes set footage from aerial drone shots. And as we've explained at the channel, those are totally fair game, because if you can capture the footage outside, you're allowed to cover it.
Dunkin' refreshers.
That's why we've posted that.
I didn't know it was fair game like that, bro. I didn't know. I thought if you get anything like any type of leaks, unless they be like, okay, it's cool, you can't do it. But they just said, bro, if y'all know where Avengers Doomsday is being filmed at, bro, go get some aerial drone shots for your boy.
Now, we've covered the other leaks, but we haven't put them in our videos, and we won't today. One expressly was what seemed to be a behind-the-scenes blueprint for an actual set building that was referred to as the Luke Cage house. Now, there were some things about this that were peculiar. First of all,
bro, I ain't seen the Luke Cage show. I only seen probably 1 or 2 episodes. I think it was like the first one he worked at a barber shop or something. Like, bro, I only watched 2-3 episodes, bro, and I didn't feel like watching no more, bro. I ain't gonna lie. But I don't think Luke Cage will be coming in this right now, bro. Like, I'm pretty sure there's gonna be characters that pop up that we haven't seen in a long time or at all. But I don't think Luke Cage is one of them. I feel like if they gonna show Luke Cage, bro, they gotta show Iron Fist and the others. You know what I mean?
Well, obviously, even if we see Luke Cage back in the upcoming Daredevil season 2 or season 3,
I would think to see
Iron Fist. There's no reason why he should have his own house featured in the beginning of Avengers Doomsday. He's not a big enough character in general, let alone has had no place in the MCU up until now, regardless if he may be coming back next year. Still, Luke Cage house didn't seem to make any sense. The second thing was the house itself seemed to be set in a retro and rural area, almost akin to what could have been described as a log cabin. Seriously, this was not a city house. This was a house basically in the middle of nowhere.
Bro, I'm telling you, bro, they gonna do exactly what they gonna go back to the old timeline to when Steve Rogers first took the serum. You know what I'm saying? And there's gonna be a bunch of stuff that did happen that's gonna change. That makes him a nomad in the timeline for him. You know what I'm saying? In that timeline, I'm telling you, bro, that's what's gonna happen.
But as it turns out now,
it's going to be Steve Rogers from
Luke Cage has apparently been revealed from industry insiders like My Time to Shine Hello and a guy who put this in my inbox actually 2 months ago, and I really got to follow up with you. Expect a DM from me. Apparently, Luke Cage was the code name for Chris Evans on the set of Avengers Doomsday, which means the Luke Cage house was really the Steve Rogers house. And as rumored now by what we heard was a cutscene from Fantastic Four, it looks like it is going to be a Nomad variant from somewhere across the.
So this is a leak from Fantastic, bro. I gotta see that movie, bro. It seemed like that movie got leaks like a mud, bro. And I might have to cover it because it might be a few that that the homie missed.
Multiverse. You know? We've speculated it was going to be the same Cap who returned the Infinity Stones and then reunited with Peggy, and there could be a theory there. That's why Steve Rogers didn't want to divulge anything for what was coming to Sam in that moment when he gave him the shield, knowing he was going to need it and knowing that there was way too much to explain how complicated things would get before they would meet on that park.
You think? Nah, because in that time. You know the Steve Rogers, when he became old, when he went back, did he have the serum or did he not take it? And like when he went back in time, did he decide not to take it? Or like, did he actually become old after a while? And he, that's what confused me, bro. I was like, bro, did he decide not to take the serum or something like that back then? Because he ended up being, he old, you know what I'm saying? So I would think like, he gets skinny, whatever the case, but I'm just like, bro, had the serum. I wouldn't think he would look that old at all, even if he did go back in time, if he actually did take it. You know what I mean? So I'm thinking maybe he didn't take it in that timeline, or maybe there was a cure or something like that, and he decided to take it throughout that timeline. And maybe that's during that timeline he became a nomad, bro.
Rather just let it play out. And while I've heard that theory in a couple of places with different details each time, it's interesting, but I don't think it's true. More likely the case, it's very easy to convince Chris Evans to come back if the Steve Rogers or Nomad he'll be portraying isn't going to touch the original story that he holds so sacred. But in that same regard, pretty sure as soon as Robert Downey Jr. was ready to come back and admitted that he probably picked up the phone and called Chris Evans. Whatever trepidations or cautions Chris Evans would have had about not returning, surely it becomes a lot easier when Robert Downey Jr. is back as Dr. Doom. Now, there are some other things I think are like important to point out here. If you missed the breaking news over the weekend about the rumored announcement for the second round of cast announcements via the chairs on August 27th for Avengers Doomsday, there are some people in the industry that are coming out now and saying that that's completely bogus. The good news is we won't have to wait that long to see. But if you missed our video yesterday, there are a lot of rumors going around right now, whether or not it comes on the 27th or later, about who will be included in that second round of announcements. And trusted source Jeff Snyder indicated, and all the way back on May 3rd, that Chris Evans would be in the second round of announcements. So where there's smoke, there's fire, so to speak. And now that we're hearing about his codename being Luke Cage and knowing that we actually...
this second casting might be full of people we all wanted to be coming back, bro. I was going to say Taylor Lautner. Tatum, bro, how you say his name, bro? The bro who played Gambit, bro, who did Step Up. That was my guy, but I don't know how to say his name for some reason. Him, you know what I mean? Chris Evans. It might be a lot of names that's coming back, bro. It might even be like old characters from like the old X-Men and all that stuff might end up popping up in this movie too, bro. Because you can't forget, he is trying to get the X-Men on his squad. Dr. Doom, I'm talking about. This second cast, bro, it's so, bro. I'm sitting here thinking about it, bro. I can't sit here and not think about how much money is about to be spent on just the actors alone, bro. Y'all gotta really sit here and think like, bro, they finna be spending at least, I'm thinking all together, bro, at least $2 billion on all the actors they finna be putting in these movies, bro. So then it also makes me think a lot of these special effects and stuff might not have, they might actually have to do like real stunts and stuff, you know what I mean? Because how much money they gonna be spending on the characters alone, bro. But you know, Marvel, Disney, they got bread, bro. They'll find it, you know. They'll find some extra dollars
for that part of the set. Well, let's put it this way, and at this point, I think a lot of us would be a lot more shocked if Chris Evans isn't in this film than if he actually is. Now, I do want to at least acknowledge this because every time we cover Chris Evans back as a Steve Rogers or rather Captain America variant, there are inevitably people in the comments talking about how this undercuts Sam Wilson's Captain America. Remember, Sam Wilson and Steve Rogers are best friends.
He's supposed to be making an Avengers
team too. There were some comments by Kevin Feige recently that seemed to admit that Captain America 4's one of its main problems at the box office was that it didn't have Chris Evans. Now, people took that and twisted.
I'm not gonna lie, bro. I think Sam Wilson being Captain America, bro, is probably is a good thing, bro. Because one, he's a human being. You know, he didn't take no serum or nothing. Because I'm not gonna lie, bro. You took the serum, you're not a human no more, bro. I don't care what nobody. You're not a human, bro. You take that serum, you're not human no more. He's the only Captain America that I know of so far. You know what I'm saying? Y'all could let me know if in the comics it's more. But he's the only one that's actually a human being. You know what I mean? He ain't got no extra power. He actually went out there and got it out the mud, bro. That's why Steve Rogers gave him the shit. He probably gave it to him knowing that Sam Wilson wasn't going to take the serum. It was really just up for the challenge as a human. You know what I mean? Like, bro. And I ain't going to lie, bro. I'm a little biased because, bro, black. Also, I like the way he used his shield and his wings, bro. I think they could do so much more with the action scenes and stuff if they got Sam Wilson carrying that shield, bro, with his wings and everything, bro. The stuff he was doing in Captain America: Brave New World movie, bro, was fire, bro. I ain't even gonna lie, bro. It was a lot of swagger to it, bro. We need more of that. You know, we need more of that.
It's sort of a knock or throwing shade.
I was a little mad he didn't take the serum at first.
Saying it all. He was saying
when this scene happened, bro, I was like,
who built the franchise in the first place, and so a lot of people tuned out.
He got to act a little bit differently because
he was trying to say, but in the same breath, adds how much weight Steve Rogers, the character Captain America, holds on his own, and how much more it's going to mean to the fans if he returns. Look, I don't think it's going to take anything away from Sam Wilson's Cap. If anything, in narrative, Sam's going to be happy that he's back, and there have been comments made by Anthony Mackie that he suspects a Captain America 5 and 6, his own trilogy. But if you remember from the comics, Sam Wilson never held the shield that long in the first place, and even Kevin Feige has admitted at some point there is a Steve Rogers alongside a Tony Stark recast in the cards. And basically, the way that they've described it lately with the soft reboot and the recasting and the singular timelines, everything is up in the air. Everything is on the table at this point. And so why not let both the actors from the old Fox universe have a last hurrah.
Back and all that.
But man, Chris Evans, Steve Rogers definitely deserves one too, especially if this truly will be the end of his story, like a lot of these old Fox X-Men characters or others that have been in it for multiple decades.
Bro, it's so sad that we really coming to the end of an era, bro. Because, you know, at some point, bro, everybody, the Avengers team, bro, is going to be new people, bro. At some point, it's going to be different casting, bro. When it comes to because we all know 2025, 2026, 2027 are like the end of the era for a lot of things, for like music stuff, movie stuff, like for actors that we've seen play a certain role. For things are ending, bro. You know, it's a new era. Even for like YouTubers and stuff, the YouTubers you love are getting older and stuff. You know, so it's, bro, it's a sad little moment, bro. Not gonna lie, it's a sad little moment, especially because it's like, bro, who gonna take their place? You know, I don't expect them to have the same exact powers or whatever, but I expect like kind of like Tom Holland will be taking place for Iron Man, for Tony Stark's Iron Man. I think he's kind of in place for him, you know. So it is just sad, bro. But it's also exciting because we finna see a whole new casting of Marvel characters, bro. It's not gonna be the same people no more after after probably this year, bro. It might be a
in the
whole
MCU
new cast
as well. So I see no harm, no foul. It's definitely no subtraction from Anthony Mackie's Captain America. 1 cap, 2 caps, shooting the Loki TV show. We had like 15
I think Sam's
gonna
Lokis. Play Captain
You guys
America.
Let me know though all your thoughts down below. How hype you are to see him back in the MCU. What you think.
I honestly think that's what's gonna happen. I think they're gonna go to Chris Evans, Steve Rogers, old timeline when he first took the serum. And before the war and all that stuff happened, and that's how he gonna become a nomad. It's gonna happen in that story, and that's on little timeline. You know what I'm saying? That's what I think is gonna happen.